The 2019 season of the Australian Ultimate League would not be possible without the support of our league partners. Today's match is brought to you by the following team sponsors.
So you've never coached AUL before. How'd you go doing that?
Yeah, it's been a great experience. So there's some kind of unique things about it. Like it's truly a co-coaching role. So Lorna Barr and I are the coaches of the Freeze, which has been great fun. Like great getting to know Lorna through coaching a bit more and getting her views on Frisbee, and that's been a great experience. But you know, there's definitely challenges with collaboration. You've got to talk about everything and think through everything, but hopefully the result's better at the end of the day. And in game, it's really interesting. It's just really fast. Like the 3 20-minute sets, 60 seconds between points is really fast. And as the coaches, if you haven't made a decision before a point ends, it's too late. The next point just happens and you have no influence. So yeah, it's been a really interesting format and a lot of fun.
Yeah. And then how'd you go about choosing the lines for this next game against Adelaide?
Yeah, okay, so teams seem to be doing a few different things. We've gone with an offense line and a defense line, and so we've mixed them up through the tournament, trying to find good connections and get the right balance for the opposition as well. So really we want a couple of strong handlers. We want a strong female handler, a strong male handler, and then it's just getting the right balance for our O-line in terms of our receivers. And then D, we're thinking about the strengths of the opposition, what's Adelaide got and what are they good at, and we want to make sure we get a right sort of balance on our D-line. Interestingly, I think some of the other teams have gone just 2 alternate lines and they just play point after point. So we've taken a different strategy and yeah, we'll see how it goes.
All right, well, good luck.
Thank you.
So what are the key things you're going to focus on in this next match?
So we want to continue to build our intensity on defense, really generate pressure on their throwers to make them try and something a bit silly or a little bit rushed. That's where we've generated most of our blocks.
Last year when you were playing Canberra, what would you do differently this year from there?
From last year when we played?
Yes.
I wouldn't give up a 2-point lead I think we gave up to them late.
Yeah.
Last year we kind of went into our shell. So we came out of the game strong, took a lead, and then tried to protect that lead rather than play hard through the rest of the game. I would say just keep playing our style. Don't worry about the score at that point.
Good morning and welcome to the Australian Ultimate League. It's the Canberra Freeze taking on the Adelaide Dragons. The battle of the latitude. My name is Max Tenstrom. I'm joined by Sarah Crossy. Sarah, this is going to be a good one, I think.
Yeah, I think so. I think Adelaide were the team coming in that had a bit of an enigma about them. Got some international showing there with a couple of Kiwis. They've got 2 number-1 draft picks. But gee, they've lost a little bit of experience and star power from the 2018 team. So I think the real question is chemistry for them. Can they pull it together?
You think they've lost star power, do you?
Well, they're down Joel Pillar.
Yeah, but they're up one Die Woman.
Alex Pillar-Rogers. Michelle Phillips. I mean, undoubtedly they've gained star power, but they've definitely lost some as well.
Sure, okay. Up and down. I would almost say on a total star power quantity, I think they've moved up. Di Warman, Kim Spragg, Aaron Neal, Lachlan Robertson.
And in the interest of maintaining friendships, I will choose not to comment there.
Sure.
But certainly
I'm happy to burn those bridges.
There's some very entertaining players on this Adelaide Dragons team, let alone the Canberra Freeze. So,
look,
your hometown.
Yeah, certainly one of the best looking squads going around.
I love a team in green. There's not many of them. What a start-up pull from Callan Spillman.
He transferred over from the Brisbane Breakers, and I know they wanted him for all sorts of attributes, but his pulling, as he demonstrates there, is really top tier. And it will be Aaron Neal, the number 1 draft pick from New Zealand, coming across the ditch to play in Melbourne. Kim Spragg, the late pickup for this team, replacing Lucy Della.
Sean Davis selling one to Callan Spillman, but then turning it over with a crossover to Kim Spragg. And it will be Wallace who picks it up and just pops it up for the first score of the game to O'Neill, who's also headed south from the last season AUL from Brisbane, comes into the Canberra Freeze.
Pretty clinical bit of offense once they'd earned that turnover from Canberra. And you really got to say that whole point was set up by that brilliant pull. It meant a slow initiation from Coffin corner, and they're able to capitalise.
Capital of the country, and they're going to have to capitalise a lot through this game, because I think this Dragons team could pull out a few surprises. So any sniffs they get, Canberra are going to need to be good enough to put them away, as Spragg gets us underway for the second point of this first set.
Yeah, certainly the Dragons much stronger than last year, where they were right down the bottom of the table. Just on paper, looking pretty strong. Warman reaching for Mike Kelly, another late addition to replace the injured Brett Middleton. Dawson streaming deep. Monty doesn't feel she has the range, goes to Jackson. Will dump to Dow. The deep cutters really stretching the field, maybe asking a little bit much. I'd like to see them set up their throws from short. Levis, Freeze calmly up that far side. And a lovely angled shot into Hannah Monty. Freeze 2 from 2, making it look easy early in this match.
Yes, another lovely clinical conversion by Canberra, just marching it down that far sideline. As we have a look, the disc in the hands of Tim Lavis, and he just floats that into space for Hannah Monty. And a closing Aaron Neal can't stop that from being a goal. It's 2-0. Exactly how coaches Lorna Barr and Peter Hempel would have liked to start the game.
And the Adelaide offense really not clicking at this early stage. Got a different set of 6 out there this point. Tom Della to Sarah Lee, gets it back. Della, last year a Melbourne Flames player, is headed west.
Pops it up to Robertson. Gav Moore comes in. Oh, Della just firing behind McDonald into the grateful arms of Perry. Dennis to her old factory teammate Wallace, who spreads it over to Callan Spielman. That's a beautiful throw. Throwing to the fat side, as some coaches like to say. And Canberra.
Off to the races early in this one.
Sure are.
Hitting their stride.
On a hot streak for sure. 3-0. The Dragons will want to hemorrhage this right now. As Anna Ragaki, former coach of the Melbourne Flames from last season, brought over to Adelaide, possibly one of the biggest off-season acquisitions for the Adelaide Dragons.
Without a doubt, bringing a wealth of high-level coaching experience.
And she's joined alongside Warren White, who was sensational last year for the Dragons. And
Yeah, he led them on the stat sheet.
It's good to see him still involved with the team.
Neil Mormon playing catch through the centre.
Well, how they've set up, they're giving these three handlers plenty of space to run. And aren't they just doing a fabulous job? Neil to Davis. He's going to put it back to him. Oh, now they're looking like they've been playing together for years. Oh,
Big hammer.
Big hammer.
From Mike Kelly, and Hannah Monty didn't even bother looking to see where the frisbee was. Just ran across the field and jumped at some point.
Oh, Mandy Fung using every one of her 152 centimetre frame to bring that one down. She's the shortest player in the AUL, but she plays taller than her diminutive frame would suggest.
Hannah Monty went
Hannah Monty.
weeks too early on that one. She had time to suck her finger, check the wind, have a look around and still make that play. But Adelaide, you can only take the chances that you have, and they take that one right there.
Yeah, nice to see that offensive point right up to just before Kelly unleashed that somewhat errant hammer. They had a nice structure there, giving plenty of space to Neil and Warman and Spragg. Plenty of license to move the disc with Sean Davis coming back. But it is Canberra who find themselves on offense now. Adelaide and Neil doing some working of their own. Neil gets into some space and shoots into Perry. Oh, the boy from Townsville brings it down. And the Canberra Freeze team likes that. They were off their feet in an instant from the sideline. Kath O'Neill just stamped her authority on that point. As we see here, she threw one just behind Dennis, who did well to reel it back in. Back up the line cut. She's in that power position. Pulls the trigger. And Perry with Della closing in. Can't stop the boy from the north from getting the fourth score for Canberra of the match.
Matt Dow on this defensive line, charging down the field after the big pull. He's battling under the weight of a number of niggles and injuries.
Well, that's great defense from Rachel Turton on Diana Warman, but she gets it back. Warman with that beautiful signature backhand flips it over to Fung. Well, I'm not sure if there was ever a force on at that point. But Adelaide, after a sketchy start.
Hitting their stride now. They go coast to coast a couple of times, really opening up the field and exposing the core area, the center of the field, to attack. And Freeze really struggling to contain them. Matt Dowell had half a look at that one, but wasn't able to get there. What started with some great defense on the handlers broke down once Adelaide got moving. As you see here on the Yukon disc replay, Davis through the centre to Kelly, who then finds his target in the end zone, and it's 4-2 as we pass halfway in this first set.
Maybe a nervy start from Adelaide, but they seem to have started to settle in. It's now where the Canberra can maintain their own rhythm as O'Neill brings this one up to the brick mark, that ball having gone out the back of the end zone.
Lovely breakthrough. Perry finds more. Spielman swinging to the fat side. Nothing's opening up more. Eventually finds the inside to O'Neill. She's really driving this offense, and you see here again to Perry. Worked last time, and it works this time.
O'Neill to Perry. My goodness.
They've showed up this match.
Well, if you ask me what position O'Neill should be playing on the field, handler wouldn't have been my first. Offensive handler wouldn't have been my first suggestion. She is a very fast, dangerous midfield cutter and an excellent defender, but she's really showing her all-round versatility here, and some beautiful throws coming out.
And Scott Perry has been the lucky recipient to be on the end of a couple of those now. At 5-3, Canberra in the driver's seat with 7 minutes remaining. It's exciting to see Rachel Turton take on Di Woolman.
Yeah, I'm loving that matchup. I've got a good eye on it. Down it goes.
Speaking of, beautifully weighted throw. Doesn't give Turton a chance. Woolman's too good as Davis serves up another goal for Adelaide.
Well, I do like to see that Diana Woolman is not being positioned solely behind the disc. I think she is one of the most dangerous downfield cutters that women has ever produced. And she shows that she can't just putting out the big throws. She's a big target downfield too. There's a very infamous picture of her from, I think, 2004 when the Australian Fire Towels were playing the Japanese team, of her taking a high grab with about 6 of the Japanese team, all under 5 foot, surrounding her at her ankles. And she used her height to very good advantage to score Adelaide's 4th point to bring it to 5-4.
Yeah, she's been terrorising defenders from all over the world for many years.
24 to be exact.
24 years. That's pretty impressive that she manages to continue to play at that level. O'Neill to Dennis. Freeze move quickly. More off to the races. Dennis puts it back in the holster.
Oh!
Spielman marked up against by McDonald. Crossfield forehand. Gavmore walks that one in.
In the end, some very pretty offensive ultimate being played here now by both teams.
Gorgeous toss from Callan Spielman. Given a lot of attention by Lachlan McDonald. He had a great bit up line. Those two dingo teammates.
Yeah, Dennis, O'Neill, Wallace starting that off from the backfield, leaving the big boys downtown who finish it off.
And Moore does indeed haul that one in. Puts it into cruise control at the end. But just a stellar throw from Callan Spielman to open up that space.
Yeah, look, and we should talk about the conditions here. Surprisingly, in Melbourne, the sun is out. And there's really just the slightest breath of wind. So You should think, given this format, there's only 6 players on the team, this should be an offensive-dominated game. Oh, Kelly going deep, but Dow's got him covered.
Freeze in a zone look this point.
Yeah, I think it's a good move. Just to keep the Dragons on their toes.
Abby, stay inside! Abby, stay inside! Stay inside, Abby! Stay inside, Abby!
Now they transition back to a match defense.
Stay inside, Abby!
With Matt Dow marking Amanda Fong.
Stay in, Abby! Stay inside!
Interesting matchup. Not sure who has the advantage in that one as Daiwoman shoots down the line. Davis leaves his feet. Sticks out the left hand and holds on. Spent a long time on the ground, maybe took a bit of a hit.
Yeah, maybe just winded himself on that one. He's an effort player, Sean Davis. And he showed it there as it moves to Daiwoman on the sideline. Just the slightest head glance backwards from Monty was enough for Davis to duck behind.
I do love that matchup with Hannah Monty on Sean Davis.
Yeah.
Canberra Freeze coaches Pete Hempel and Lorna Barr have been using her a lot to take on those male central handler matchups, and she's done a great job of it. And while Davis does get that one there, clearly causing him a lot of trouble and probably most successfully getting him out of the handler space, which is precisely what they want her to do. She's very agile, very quick, causes them a lot of trouble around the disc, and thus making them clear out downfield is a big win. Wallace struggles to pick this one up, but gets play moving. She finds Dennis on the far side. Moore thinks, sizes up the big backhand crossfield to Spielman.
Yeah, Dragons in a little zone of their own now. With McDonald in the middle there of a very big loose cup. That's a lovely throw over the top to Callan Spielman to open it up, but Adelaide do a good job to put on their structure again.
Gav Moore doing his best impression of a handler. So far convincingly, Spielman, Wallace, Moore. Under pressure, and Dennis. You saw the shock on her face as that one went to ground. She can't believe she didn't hold on to that.
Yeah, look, Adelaide held that zone. They were holding it. We've seen the expectation is that you need to transition quickly. 6-on-6 is not the best zone format as Robertson shoots one to Sally Yu. Wow.
And that's a break for the Adelaide Dragons.
Wow, what a shot from the New Zealander.
And no better time for it with under a minute to play. It's now 6 apiece.
Let's have a look again at this throw, this beautiful forehand. Up it goes, Sally using space. She's got 5 metres on O'Neill, who can't make it up. And Robertson, he tells us that he plays Rocket League, which is a online car football video game.
It's
Something
a great
the kids
game.
do. You're in?
The young kids these days. I've never played it. I am aware of the game.
But look, I think we can rename him Rocket Robinson after that shot. What an arm he's showing.
Clearly.
And he backs it up to put up the pull now. Does Rocket. It's going to catch on.
Okay, we're going to make it work.
Work with me, Stenstrom.
For all the Kiwis that are tuning in and watching this, let's make it stick. A little bit of all of the above.
It's like he's trying to walk something out, so hopefully...
Before this match, he did say he should have retired last year. I'm not going to dare say he was right, but he's...
Oh!
in a bit of pain.
McDonald tries to come through the bid, but Lavis holds on.
Jackson thinks about firing. He had Dawson and Turton heading to the end zone.
Oh, this Adelaide defense is making it hard work, but there's a break from Hannah Monty. Oh, and she just drops it cold.
Really no excuse for that. 2 hands on it.
Yeah.
She had time and space.
Player of her caliber, you wouldn't expect to see that as Sarah Lee brings it in for the Dragons. Oh, and some great pressure defense from Andrew Jackson there as Rocket just slips through Rocket's fingers.
Oh, Rocket. The pass
on,
that was not
Stenstrom.
necessarily from Sarah Lee, but an opportunity for the Canberra Freeze. Lavis hit. Jackson the dump, marked by the Rocket, as you say.
And am I right in saying what happens when this point gets scored?
Rachel Turton
As
on the
it
recipient
does.
of that. Time cap went during that point, which means that is the first set, I believe. Waiting on official confirmation from the timekeepers. But
Yeah, it looks like it has been called. Well,
7-6 to Canberra.
well. Well, Adelaide started slow in that first, but my goodness, they came home quickly. There was a question about their chemistry, but they've got their titration right. And I think we're nicely poised now for a fascinating contest in sets 2 and 3. Canberra take the first championship set point, and we will take a break and join you again for set 2.
And welcome back to the second set of the Canberra Freeze taking on the Adelaide Dragons. The first set was the story of a comeback from the Adelaide Dragons, but it was Canberra Freeze that shut the door at the last possible moment, taking it 7-6. But in the process, Matt Dowell may well have torn his Achilles, and he'll be out at least for the rest of this game. And a big question mark will hang over the rest of his season if he can recover. Because of that, the men on this Freeze roster will have to carry a little bit more of the work in terms of the running.
Another zone look here from Adelaide, and you'd have to say it was effective in slowing down that Canberra offense. Interesting to see whether they hold it or whether they're happy to transition. So far holding. Oh, there's a wide open Monty if they can hit her. Through to Gav Moore. Now it's looking easy, but can they finish it off? Lavis. Little pushy pass. Through to Dawson. And the chess game continues. Moves and counter moves.
There's plenty of it, especially with coaches of this calibre. Anna Rigaki, Pete Hempel, Lorna Barr, Jodie Warren-White. Have a fair few years of ultimate frisbee between them. We've seen a lot of offense, we've seen a lot of defense. Not much is new to their eyes, even in this altered format. And I think often, especially in this format with a bunch of very elite players that may not have played together, it's less about the X's and the O's and the roles and the positions as much as it is about the chemistry, the communication, and those more, I guess, intangibles in terms of getting the best possible results out of your players.
Yes, indeed, and there's no players allowed on the sideline in this game. Maybe we'll have a chat about that later and its implications as really the offensive unit here for the Dragons gets underway. Spragg, Davis and Neal working with Warman looking to attack downfield. I like that. That's a beautiful little pop-up throw to Spragg. She's going to squeeze it down to Warman, and she's going to squeeze it even further to Davis. Just out of reach. Oh, she asked a lot of him there.
And he'll take an injury sub.
That's his second big hit on the ground.
And Freeze will take the opportunity to replace Gavin Moore with Tim Lavis.
Della who comes on for the Dragons.
Fair enough, about to go on to defense. There are a few better on this Dragons roster to bring a bit of energy, a bit of fortitude to your defensive effort.
He's certainly an entertaining player with the Flames last season. Looking to spice things up with the Dragons, and unfortunately for him and the Della family, he was hoping to be joined by his sister Lucy, but she too has suffered an injury that has taken her out of the league. As Adelaide Dennis fires that lefty backhand up to Lavis, across to Callan, and into the corner for Scott Perry. Wow, that happened quickly. Full use of the field.
Down that far end zone, big swing to the near side, and then shot into Perry.
Wow, Perry, I think that's his hat-trick for this match.
And Adelaide Dennis showing her throwing chops as well.
Yeah, that throw from Lavis across field, so penetrating. At that point, the defense has no hope of containing it. Even one as talented as Stella. And it's 2-0 to Canberra.
And I know that going into the draft, the Canberra Freeze were on the lookout for a bit of pace, and they certainly delivered that when they chose Scott Perry from Townsville.
As Andrew Jackson lets go of that one. Spragg to Warman to Neal. They've got some very dynamic handling going.
That's a tough shot by Aaron Neal. Very difficult.
If you were throwing to Gavin Moore, it was a good throw, but if you were expecting Della to bring it down, it was a near impossible ask. Dawson to Monty. Adelaide struggling to get any force on here. That's up and away to Lavis.
That is lovely offense from the Canberra's D-line.
More to Lavis. Well, they're all Dingo's teammates. I think they probably were playing on opposite sides of offense, defense, but certainly a beautiful connection there for the score. Yeah, so no players on the sidelines. Max, what impact do you think that has on for the players?
It's an interesting one, and I know I've spoken to a few players about what they think about this, and they said it's very true that the way most people play the game at the moment is often quite reliant on the sideline for energy and to some extent for information. But they also all acknowledge that as a weakness in the current way that Ultimate's often. They said we should be able to perform our best without that wall of noise, and this format's really going to test it. I think it'll be uncomfortable for a lot of them not to have that source of energy, particularly as the fatigue starts to set in longer points and longer matches. Michaela Dunmore not feeling fatigued. Boosts one to Aaron Neal, who takes a big old bump from Gavin Moore from behind.
Yeah, I think it was already gone.
It's an uncontested call very quickly.
Yeah, undoubtedly there was contact. We'll have another look here. Up goes Neal. Oh no, that's fair enough.
Yeah, Moore didn't get any of the disc and just got all of Aaron Neal's arm.
Just having a discussion now about where it goes back to.
Uncontested foul. Neal will walk it back to the front of the end zone. Robertson marked by Perry. The rocket goes up line, doesn't get the pass from Sarah Lee. Dunmore isolates in space.
Oh, wow. Oh, she's done the big disc spike. Nice to see some passion from these Adelaide Dragons. But what a throw from Dunmore. She just wound that up and unleashed it for a good 3/4 of the length. Huck to Neal. And she finishes off. Boom. There it is.
And there's not many that can stay with Dunmore one-on-one in a space like that. Pretty lethal in the end zone. And so far, this second set is a mirror of the first, or a repeat of the first, I should say. Canberra going up 3-0 early before Adelaide able to chalk their first points on the board.
And look, we'll just have to see this loss of Matt Dow, this injury, whether the impact that will have coming late into the second of this second set and into the third, as the Canberra men are asked to cover that loss. Whether it's going to have effect on their legs. Oh.
We see mistakes creeping in. Jackson's pass to Dawson. Pretty subpar.
McDonald back to Rocket.
They connect again. McDonald heads up line.
Ah, wow, it was McDonald, Rocket, McDonald. All the way to the end zone.
Adelaide 2 in a row.
Oh, gee.
Making this one exciting to bring it back to 3-2. And we've still got plenty of time.
And the Adelaide Dragons defensive line is going to remain on the field. Again, interesting to see what structures they're going to use, as Warren White has a look down the other end about which personnel are taking the field for Canberra. Seems to be a coaching split there between Regaki talking to the Adelaide Dragons offensive line and Warren White handling that defensive line.
Robertson with a nice pull. It's going to land deep in the end zone.
Yeah, nasty position for Wallace to pick it up. Oh, gee, close to a Callahan there.
Dooley.
Really had to work hard.
Moore uncorks it. Scott Perry, Tommy Della spinning in circles. And it's Perry who got a hand on it.
Oh, he looks at his empty hand and says, I had it.
Della just goes back to McDonald on this near side. Spielman will contain. all of a sudden, Dragons, Scott Perry leaves his feet, but Tom Della holds on and he's inches from the end zone. And they have every opportunity to even up this score at 3 apiece. McDonald sees Sally Yu, the 2018 #1 draft pick.
Well. Well, there's not a sense of deja vu yet. Gee, Canberra just let them back in there. Not a good option from Moore. That was always going to be a 50-50 contest between Della and Perry.
And really, that whole passage of play, the reason Moore took that shot is because of the pressure they felt under following that excellent pull.
Yeah,
the hotly contested first pass that Dennis did a great job of holding on to. And then Moore felt that pressure, and as a result, the rush of blood to the head and the questionable huck option.
Well, Warren White is going to ask this line to go one more time with a changeover. Aaron Neal coming on and pulling. So he'll be teamed up with his New Zealand teammate, Rocket Robertson. And it looks like they're coming down in match defense.
Rachel Turton on this near side. Finds Dawson. Not a lot in front.
Not sure what she was looking at there. But she has just handed that back to the Dragons, and you feel the momentum. It is all Dragons at the moment. Dunmore, there's not much happening, but the Rocket comes through. Up the line to his New Zealand compatriot.
Dunmore tries to lead the Rocket up line.
And there's a few hands on knees here. They've been asked to go 3 points in a row by their coaching staff, and maybe now just a little bit of fatigue setting in for these Adelaide Dragons defensive line.
It's a lot of running to do without a break. 6 on 6, it's only one player different, but there's just really no longer an opportunity to stand and wait in a stack or watch as others do the work. Dawson really stretching here. Turton on form.
Oh, Mandy Fung holds the position in front.
Robertson returns the favour, looking for Sally Yu, and he won't make a
The
mistake.
Rocket! He's fired another one! And doesn't he love it? Sally Yu, what a great heads up to cut long. And wow, it is all Adelaide.
And clearly, without the presence of Matt Dow, Canberra Freeze just crumbling.
One of the elder statesmen of the game. He's been playing 24 years. He could probably throw a frisbee with his foot. We'll see. We'll see. Was that a massive turning point? Was that a massive turning point in this game? Either way, it's made it exciting. At 4-3 as the Dragons take the lead in this set for the first time. Gee, they'd love to square this game up with one set apiece, but we've got just under 5 minutes for them to hold and extend this lead.
Dennis marked by Spragg. Moore to Wallace, to Moore. Perry's on the near side, but he's reaching for Dennis instead, and it's Della.
Gee, they had lovely flow there, but it's just not coming off for Canberra at the moment. That throw just sitting up too long to Dennis to allow Della to come through for the D.
Della goes long.
Wow, Well, she had eyes only for Neil there, and eventually he gets free for Warman.
Pomdella still running hard. Rifles a forehand.
Gee.
Tim Sprague maybe caught a little unawares. Wasn't expecting that to be on the left side of her as he opted for the inside channel and reacted a little late. O'Neill breaks the mark nicely. Moore shoots another backhand. Callan Spielman.
That's a better look, Gavin Moore.
Holds on to that one.
And he's not quite in, he's calling himself.
And almost makes that more exciting than it needed to be. Scott Perry pulls it down. Canberra stop the bleeding.
Oh, wow, they needed that one.
They really, really did. This second set been two massive momentum shifts. Initially, Canberra 3 in a row out of the gates, and then Adelaide responded with 4 of their own. Their D-line barely getting off the field.
And we're marching towards the 2-minute mark here. 2-minute warning.
Andrew Jackson back to Canberra after a few years playing in London with Clapham. He's not in the country for last year's AUL.
Kelly is a bit stranded. This is great defense, but Dunmore provides that outlet. Oh,
High release backhand on the lefty.
Just a bit too cute there from Dunmore.
Opportunity for Canberra to break back, steal back a bit of that momentum, go on a run of their own, and it couldn't come at a better time with 80 seconds remaining on the clock.
There's the English import, Rachel Turton.
And geez, she's been good for them. Abby Dawson.
Gee, she'd like to have that back.
It's not the first time we've seen her take an interesting option, particularly on that forehand blade side.
Oh, and look, I'm a long-time advocate for the forehand blade, but it's with great power comes great responsibility.
Yes.
With the forehand blade, and in that time it was just undercooked or overcooked, whatever you like it. But here's Aaron Neal firing one deep to a streaking Kelly. Goal.
And with 25 seconds remaining,
What a time for it.
it's do or die time for Freeze. 15 seconds left on the clock. The time cap will go very shortly.
Jeez, that was a huge point. If Dawson throws that in, it's 5-4 Canberra. They're sitting in the box seat with under 15 seconds to go. As it is, it's Adelaide.
The one thing that Canberra has going for them is they're on offense. And they have to hold and then take it to Universe. And then they'll have to play defense. So it's a long and difficult road in front of them if they want to pull away with this second set and close out the match.
Yeah, the sun has certainly gone behind a few clouds here in Melbourne. A chill has come over the fields. We'll see whether Freeze also.
And the wind is starting to pick up.
It is picking up, isn't it?
It's coming a little bit, say, right to left.
Catball making some big cuts. Scream for the disc, and he's saying, "Oh, guys, I'm not as young as I used to be."
You got to
You
throw it to me
gotta
on the
throw it to
first
me
or
when
second.
I'm open. Here he comes, and he's decided just to hang back as a handler now.
Instead goes the hammer for Scott Perry and nails it.
Oh,
Maybe cops a foot to the
yeah,
to the goalies.
Della nails Perry in the end too, but wow, great.
Gav Moore stepping up to fill the void left by Matt Dow.
Great, wow. And if there's ever a throw that Matt Dow would have thrown in that position, it would have been the hammer. The Matt Dow Memorial hammer, that is.
And you'd think Matt Dow would be proud of that shot, you know.
Oh, yes.
The young Padawan, Gavin Moore, spent so long in Matt Dow's shadow, finally gets an opportunity to step out and be his own man, and that's it.
Yes,
So
well, Moore, he's enjoying the old offensive handling position. Maybe you're right.
Yeah.
He has just been waiting for his opportunity. He's been stuck in defense for years.
Yeah. Played one season as a
here we
deep
go.
receiver.
What are we talking? This is sudden death here. This
5
is
all.
universe point. So the game is on the line here for the Dragons. They need to score this to keep this set alive. They need to score it to keep this game alive. As here we go. Oh,
Hannah Monty had a look at that one from Di Warman.
yeah, using all of her long arms there to snatch it back. As Rocket has the disc. New Zealander to New Zealander.
Have asked Moore to stay on the field, Canberra has. Play some more defense. As he marks up on Kelly. Monty has the Warman matchup.
Oh, tangle of legs. Rocket. Kelly plays on to Neil. Back to Rocket. Well, they're marching them backwards here. Oh, there's some tired legs.
Rocket doesn't look like he's slowing down.
Yeah, Kim Sprague has been absent so far from this point. Diana Warman, well, she's got a very fast Monty closing in on her.
And the shot goes long, and it's Rachel Turton in prime position.
Yeah, gee, who was that to? You're not quite sure, but Rachel Turton cleans it up. And brings it to the line.
This is the opportunity Canberra Freeze worked to earn. It'll be Cal Spielman that comes off the back of the stack to get play started.
Here we go. Canberra score this one. It's game, set, match. Monty streaming long. Moore holds it and puts it up to Lavis, but he'll have a shot. Diana Warman! Wow,
She
what a
steps
time to
up.
have a big defensive play. It's topsy-turvy world here at the moment with Gav Moore offensive handling and Diana Warman on the defensive side of things. Just showing their versatility as players. Monty
Canberra.
had her for speed, but Warman.
Lavis maybe just short of the throw. 6 inches further would have been straight into Monty's arms. But all that work Canberra put in on the defensive end, they're just going to have to replicate. Adelaide patient once more. Not a lot opening up for the Dragons.
Yeah.
Options dry up.
Oh,
And Tim Lavis.
Lavis! My gosh, what a time to leave your feet and get a block. And here's the now
Holy
infamous
moly.
Scafmore hammer.
Oh, that's likely a foul call. Maybe even a strip. Gavin Moore.
He's going to call it a goal.
He got a
Is that
little bit
right?
excited from his last successful hammer. And that's an
wow.
uncontested strip. That's the game.
Oh, wow.
Apologies, that's the set. And 2 out of 3 for Canberra.
It is the match, but there's 1 to go. Oh, that's a heartbreaker for Adelaide. They were tired. That's a tired play. Neil Arnott, he wanted to take a breather in the stack. Rocket looking to put it inside for him to go and collect, but Lavis is the one that reads that play. And then Gavin Moore.
Total speculation with that throw.
He got cocky for the last one. And that is the end of the second set.
Wow, we tired legs out there. And as the players take a break, so will we. But join us for the third set of this great match. Welcome back to the Australian Ultimate League. It's Canberra Freeze, who've just closed out 2 nail-biting sets to lead this match against the Adelaide Dragons. 2 equal latitude cities duking it out in this one. And so far, it's the capital that have capitalised.
Look at you with your geographical factoids.
Very good.
Yes, look, it has been a
latitudes.
fascinating game. It's a shame that Adelaide couldn't sneak that one in, but all props to Canberra for holding their nerve and taking now 3 championship points, but they're not satisfied at just that. They'd love one more. And given the format of these sets and the point distribution, it could be that every point matters. In fact, it's entirely possible mathematically in this format for a team to win every game, but to drop a set and still miss out on the final.
It certainly is. It makes every point and every set important.
And we're underway. There's a great pull, but it's going to go out the back, and Diana Warman will bring that up to the front of the end zone. Yes, whether it's fair or equitable, I'm sure that will be discussed in frisbee circles around the country, but it makes it entertaining. As Canberra start with a zone, Sprague busts through that cup.
She hasn't really asserted herself as much as I thought she would this match. Aaron Neal, however, and Mandy Fong asserting themselves.
Gee, that's a big shot. You can see why he was the #1 draft pick. Mandy Fong, known to be a defensive handler marker, really, I'd say would be her strength. And
Certainly.
she is making some big statements downfield, racking up some stats.
Yeah, making it happen.
And high-fiving her rogue teammate, Kath O'Neill, on that one. Great technique on the layout too.
I guess it's not a long way down when you're only 152 centimetres tall.
Yeah, that's my excuse on the inverse as well.
Jackson and Lavis behind the disc. Turton gets things started. What a revelation she's been. I know I've said it before, but can't wait to see more of her in action.
Yeah, it's great to see the Europeans represented, or rather, who knows what they're going to be, just the Brits. But that's a foul there on Hannah Monty's throw. Dunmore just collecting her on the way. It's going to be uncontested. Probably fortunate there was a foul there, because I'm not sure Lavis was in a good position to receive it, and as it is, it comes back.
She'll go to Gavin Moore. Tommy Della. Unhappy on the ground, holding his left shoulder. Not a good sign.
No, hard to know what happened just then. Maybe just a tangle of feet, and he's taken a big blow on his, I think you're right, Max, on his left shoulder.
Not good, and especially for a player like Tom Della, tough as nails usually. Not a good sign when he has to walk off the field.
Let's have another look at this.
Not a lot in it from Gavin Moore's side. Maybe just, as you say, a tangle of feet on the way past. But play will restart. Jackson breaks back towards the far side. It's Lavis. Finds Monty. We'll find
Hannah
Dawson,
Monty,
who leaves her feet.
Oh, gee, she's an aggressive thrower, Hannah Monty. Of the likes of Vivian Stettner and Rachel Grinley, there's not too much float on those forehands. They are rifled in. And on that occasion, a bit too much sting for Dawson.
Really demands a lot from the receiver.
It sure does.
And if you're not pinpoint, not easy to chase down. You don't give yourself an opportunity to
Great
recover.
defense here by Canberra.
Mike Kelly, huge backhand. Lachlan McDonald will leave.
He's going to walk that one in.
His Dingo's captain behind Tim Lavis. Maybe not captain, but leave his Dingo's teammate behind, I should say. And Adelaide open their account for the third set.
Let's see if we have another look at this replay. That put from Kelly, quite a compact, if we can see him now, just getting into that position. Very compact action there from Kelly.
Yeah.
That hand and arm quite close to his body on the release. I guess the mark wasn't in position to make a play on it, but impressive to get that power with so little rotation really going through that arm.
Yeah, no big backswing, but really smooth nonetheless.
Well, it's one apiece. And this set, much like the rest of the match, is very tight in the early stages. Canberra here, they've definitely got an offensive line. They've got one line where the women are the three handlers and the men at the back, and another one where they've got their men handling and their women at the back. And oh gee, Gavmore just turns that one over, looks at the hand.
Can't blame it on your hand. Rocket can't get anything out. Finds you underneath. Kelly, they're moving it quickly.
Rocket! Oh!
Lachlan McDonald can't track that one down. Too far out in front.
Yeah, the boosters were on from Rocket on that throw, and it just sails out of reach.
There's fatigue really setting in. I think it's starting to affect the decision making, I think. Just a little bit.
Look, it's the mental challenge of this three sets, particularly when two of them are already done and dusted and won by one team. You know, can the Dragons pick themselves up to get that third point? Are their hearts in it? Do Canberra really care to push through to get the clean sweep? It's a fascinating psychological, oh, there's a pick here, but fascinating psychological experience for both teams. Challenge, rather.
Yeah, this new format has been a lot of fun to see it in action and see the players really figure it out as they're going, building the aeroplane as they're flying, so they say. Oh, and a big hand block.
Dunmore.
Mickey Dunmore pumps her fist. She's feeling that one.
Oh.
And Lachlan McDonald just gives it away. Like, I'll tell you right now, those dad backhands, just not a good choice. Dennis plucks it out of the air. Arky backhand out in front of Perry, who accelerates onto it. And Canberra Freeze go end zone to end zone.
Well, I mean, they got away with it, Canberra, but there were some close contest throws there. I think both coaches would be very now, if it was me and we were playing a more traditional format, that you call a timeout and settle your charges down a bit. You've got 10 seconds with that disc.
We'll have a look again at this hand block. Clean as you like. Super fired up about it too.
Oh, she definitely telegraphed it, and Dunmore didn't have to be asked twice.
Perry obliges with the finish.
Yeah, gee, he's been solid for them, hasn't he? Scott Perry. Good to see FNQ being represented in the AUL.
Far North Queensland, for those not up to date on the acronyms.
Here we go. Oh, Lavis, another.
And no
snaffle.
excuses for lack of chemistry between the two Kiwis. But don't get it right there.
Oh, Dawson turns away from but comes back to her.
Mandy Fong giving up a good foot and a bit, I reckon, on Turton, still managing to contain the break throws. Monty pops one up over the top. That's a speculator if ever I've seen one. It looks like they may have almost just tipped the bottom rim of the disc together, but neither getting enough of her hand to actually secure it. Kim Sprague. Back to Warman.
Oh,
Jackson.
Thought he had a bid there, which means we've got a wide open Davis, but Dawson does some great cover defense.
Great hold
off
by Sprague. Big shot from Robertson. Jeez, he's got power.
Oh, does he what? And if you weren't sure, he's just signaled goal. Wow. That's a big forehand he's got in his arsenal. And he delivers it to Sean Davis, and you have to trace that back to Andrew Jackson. Thinking he had a bid at that one from Warman. But it's the risk reward when you're poaching off your player. You can see him now trying. He turns around to ask someone to switch, but there's no one back there except for Sean Davis, and he takes probably one of the easiest goals he's going to catch.
Yeah, and from a smaller framed Lachlan Robertson manages to generate a huge amount of power on his throws. Very fast when he needs them to be. Very impressive. And he's still got plenty of run in him as he chases down this pull. Moore finds Perry. Sends it back to Moore. Moore shoots for Spielman.
Oh, gee.
Snags it with the left hand.
Oh, it's one of those awkward, that disc came in awkwardly for Callan Spielman. He just whipped his head around, and it's one of those occasions where sometimes your feet aren't in a position to elevate, but he just that tall frame manages to stick that arm out and rewarded with the goal. Gav Moore.
Showing his hucking game.
He's an actuary by trade. He's after some statistics here, I think, on the fantasy sheet. Because he's got to be leading the assist board in this game.
He wasn't happy with the sample size of his first couple.
Wow. A shout out to our camera crew at Ulti TV for catching that magic moment on the sideline.
Speaking of magic moments, Adelaide Dragons will need a couple more. They're still behind by one. Mormons to Kelly. The hammer across field. Davis on the receiving end of another.
Wow. This is turning into a fun game.
3 apiece.
Yeah, just over half of our time expired now in this third set. The question will be who wants it more.
And every championship point, as we mentioned earlier, can be valuable.
Yeah, absolutely.
In this new structure.
Wow, Sean Davis giving the disc a little foot spike there. Kelly, wow, he's shown that. He showed us that short action rip backhand. He shows that he can deliver that stinging hammer as well.
It's good to see Della back on the field. His earlier injury clearly not hanging around or anything too severe.
Well, not many options for Wallace as Dennis streaks across the field. And now it's opening up a little bit more for them. Perry, just gets touched on the way through, and Dunmore does more than touch it with a big block before it got to the waiting arms of O'Neill.
And now it's Adelaide with an opportunity to go back the other way. Sarah Lee and Lachlan McDonald will drive the orange offense. But Scott Perry has something to say about that. Immediately off to the races, and the throw doesn't come. So Neil and Wallace behind the disc.
Wow.
O'Neill goes fat side to Callan Spielman. Two frisky teammates connect well. Della gets a tap on the pass on the way through for Gavin Moore.
Oh, gee. What a point. These players are stepping up into this third set. There's bids, there's defense. Dunmore, she's got her hands on her knees after that one, sucking in a few big, deep breaths. She's been fantastic this game. Talk about the statistics. She's got blocks, she's got assists.
She's got goals.
She's done everything her team has asked her to.
She's an exciting young player who I'm sure we'll see a bit more of in years to come. Willamette has the real disadvantage of living in Adelaide. I'm sure she'll be able to overcome that. And
I'm not commenting on that one. All right, it's Davis picking up to Neil. Back to Neil. They really are. They look like they've been playing together for years, these Adelaide Dragons at times. Mandy Fong on this near sideline with Rachel Turton putting on a big mark. Neil just muscles his way in there. Lavis on him. Ever reliable. Kelly coming back. Wow, this is a grinding point here.
And Mike Kelly.
Gee, that's what can happen. Shot off, but no one's got any legs to run to that disc.
Lavis walks slowly over, sucks in a few breaths. the fatigue. I mean, I know I'm getting tired in the commentary booth watching all the running these players are doing. I'm sure
Turton,
they're all
great
exhausted.
effort, big cut deep and coming back under. Whoa, Spielman just ripped it, but just too close to the ground.
And that's the kind of misexecution that comes when you're tired. You don't commit fully to your pivot. You kind of short arm the action
You
and
want to finish that point.
put it into the turf.
Yeah, you're right, Max Stenstrom. This is going to be one of those points, I think. You're just going to have to will yourself, especially on offense, to
Nice
keep
throw
cutting.
from Sprague. Davis back to Neil. Kelly.
Sprague, she's got a few metres on Dawson. Kelly's going to hit the under there with Mandy Fong. Now she gets the disc. She'll hit it back to Neil. Will pop up a cheeky little hammer to who else but their number one receiver these days, Sean Davis.
He doesn't get back up. He's exhausted. You could see him grimacing with every step, huffing and puffing as he kept going. But kept going he did. He left Andrew Jackson in his wake and finishes with a nice catch. And Adelaide in the lead, 4-3.
And we are very quickly approaching that 2-minute warning. Left in the set, left in the match.
In fact, we've already passed it.
Oh, pardon me, yes.
Approaching the 1 minute warning. It's getting exciting.
Sure is. Look, there's that grab. What a great grab from Sean Davis.
Utter
stretch.
exhaustion. Fresh legs out there for Canberra. Callan Spillman will have to go round again as Matt Dow can't take the field anymore.
Well, I dare say, Canberra, if there's ever time to pull out your boring ultimate, Burley Griffin style, now's the time to do it. Gav Moore.
Missed the memo.
Missed that memo. Oh, gee.
Looking to get things done quickly.
Yeah, he works in the private sector, that's the problem. The rest of this Canberra team, I'm pretty sure, is full of public servants. They know how to draw things out.
Bunch of bureaucrats.
Well, here we go. Rocket picking up the disc. Moore on the mark. Fires it to Dunmore.
To be fair, there's only one Canberra local on the field at the moment, and it's Aaron Wallace. Dunmore reaching for Della, and he launches a forehand. Sally Yu puts on the Jets.
Beautiful throw, Tommy Della.
And waiting for confirmation, that is game. Adelaide lock up that third set, 5-3. But it will be Canberra that will take away the first two. Adelaide taking that one championship point to the bank.
Well, it was well deserved in the end. They definitely deserved to come out of that really fascinating contest. Some reward, not the one they wanted, but it'll be 3 championship points to the Canberra Freeze and 1 to the Adelaide Dragons.
And as they rest their tired legs, thank you very much for joining us. Do stay tuned in to the Australian Ultimate League. It's been a pleasure. I've been Max Stenstrom and I've been joined by Sarah Crossy. We'll see you next time.